My name is Charles Soberman. Was born in Detroit, Michigan. I am 72 years old. The Miata came out in late 1989 in the U.S. and they were selling at a very high price. So I waited a while and I bought this one in late 1990. It had every option that was available at the time, and the dealer installed extra leather seats. But I had always wanted to have a red convertible, so I saw this one at the dealer. I lived nearby and went to the dealer 3 or 4 times, and like a fisherman, he pulled me in and eventually sold me the car. Okay. I was trained as a lawyer, but I didn't practice law very long. I moved to Detroit and worked with my father. We owned a paint factory for house paint and a chain of stores where we sold the paint. So at the time I bought the Miata, I was the president of a paint company. Well, I was born in 1948, 58, 60. So I was 41. You know, here they say you have they sometimes say, I don't know about in Japan, but they say you have a midlife crisis when you're 40. So my wife said, if this is your midlife crisis, that's okay. Yes, I have 2 daughters and a son and 6 grandchildren now. The kids loved it. My children loved it. They all learned how to drive a stick shift in the Miata. My wife always liked it. She liked it. Of course, it's more fun with the top down, and we have a short summer here. So, but we only drive it in the summer, the spring, summer, and fall. And I put it away for the winter. Well, in 1991, there were not a lot of cool cars. Most of the American cars were awful. They were big, still. They were fast in a straight line. The British and the Italian 2-seater convertibles were not very well built. A lot of problems. Some of them weren't being sold anymore. And the Miata came out, and it was a big hit in 1989, 1990. All the car magazines loved it, and I got interested in it and waited a year, and then I bought one. But I didn't consider anything else at the time. That was the only car I considered. I considered replacing it a couple of times with the BMW, the Z, and also with the Honda S2000. And I have no regrets about not buying the BMW. The Honda is an interesting car to have. And I also thought about buying a Porsche, but I don't, especially at my age, I don't drive so fast anymore. It feels fast in the Miata. Well, one thing that it was like was dependable. It never has left me stranded on the road. If it didn't start, it was the battery. Even after I stored it away for 6 or 8 months, I would turn the key, it would start right up immediately. I tell people it's like a sewing machine. You turn it on and it runs, no problems. It's always brought a smile to my face when I open the garage, when I take the cover off in the spring and I start it off and go for my first ride. It always makes me smile. And I think Miata always makes everybody smile. If you don't like a Miata, there's something wrong with you, right? I thought about it, and then I said, and just like I mentioned that I thought about getting a Honda S2000 or a Porsche or Boxster, and I thought, the Miata makes me happy. I don't need to go faster. It brings a smile to my face. What is another car going to do for me? It wasn't about the money. It was about the pleasure. So I thought about maybe buying a new one, but keeping the old one. Well, for many years in the U.S., when we'd see another Miata, we'd wave at them. just like we sort of some motorcycle owners do. So is there a camaraderie, a friendship between Mazda owners, Miata owners in Japan? I have a neighbor. One day I saw a blue one around the corner, and I stopped and met the fellow, and he and I had a nice conversation. He actually helped me, sent me to the fellow who sold me these tires. So there's like a friendship of people who own Miatas. Another time I was on the east side of Detroit, and I saw a beat-up Miata, and I honked at the guy, and he stopped, and we talked, and he was a French man, young man. His mother owned a restaurant, French restaurant, and he had bought an old Miata for very little money and was fixing it up. So we had a nice conversation. I also told you that my son is now, pretty soon he'll be 40 years old, and I'm giving it to him as a gift because I think he will enjoy it. His children, who are young boys, 6 and 8, they'll enjoy it, and maybe they'll learn to drive us on this car. Oh, he was thrilled. When he was young, he wanted a faster car, but now that he's grown up, he's mature, I think he sees also like I do, the joy in this kind of car. And his boys, they drove in from New York last week. We hadn't seen them in almost a year. They drove in, and I gave his 6-year-old a ride in the neighborhood, and he was so excited. How fast does it go? He wanted to know.